A team exploring the poles finds a huge slab of ice. As the ice thaws, they find a frozen prehistoric man. It amazes how this man is intact at all. Scientists think about what to do now. In the opening scene of the movie, we find ourselves in the ice floe. We witness a team wearing ballet working in the icy swamp. They are in a remote area of the snow-capped mountains and are busy attaching an ice floe to the helicopter. This ice floe is lifted into the air by helicopter and taken to the nearest research center. The next section reveals that this ice contains an important archaeological and anthropological discovery. A scientist is called in, and he smells really bad when he walks in. The scientist is taken to the operations headquarters alongside several caged animals through the building. This reveals that the ice contained an important archaeological and anthropological discovery. A scientist is called. It smells very bad when the man comes in. A regiment of scientists is taken through the building and taken to the center of the operation alongside the animal in several cages. He then joins the group speculating about what they found. They cut off excess ice using lasers to reveal what's inside the ice. When they look inside, they see a human they believe to be a Neanderthal or a very early human species. When they thawed the ice, they saw that his body was quite solid and was dressed in animal skins. When they remove these, they discover a small bag when they find a necklace around his neck and a small handicraft made of hair that looks like a bird. The group of doctors led by Dr. Diana Brady, who takes care of the body, then administers a transfusion that artificially awakens the blood around the corpse with oxygen over the winter. Surprisingly at this point, the scans reveal that the caveman's cells are metabolized. They then realize that there is some brain activity, and their excitement rises. Doctors intervene by administering oxygen with a respirator, and then insert a defibrillator that tries to start the caveman's heart. After several trials, the body responds by using shocks of increasing power. And Barry declares that Adam is alive. Within minutes, the 40,000-year-old man starts to lose his temper as he starts to fidget and wake up. He is conscious, but seems frightened of his new environment. Later, the doctors, including Shepard, discuss what their next steps should be. Freddy and the others begin to advocate using it for research. That way, they'll better understand how it survived so long. Meanwhile, Time insists that a modern base would be of immense benefit. He insists they have to watch him for 2 weeks, the others eventually giving in to his opinion. As a result, we soon see the man wake up in what seems natural. He takes the fruits he sees soon and starts to squeeze them. He is very happy when he sees the juice of the fruits flowing through his fingers. He also sees the birds on his top and begins to gesture to them. Then he makes a fire using a few small stones. The next morning, after bathing in the waterfall, he starts hunting. It passes quickly and lightly over rocks and through a cave. He has a sharp stick that he turns into a spear. He manages to attract a boar and skewers it with a stick. Now he has plenty of food and fire. Soon the man begins to explore the hidden parts of this artificial area. First he finds something in the creek that looks like a shower head. It is connected to a long plastic pipe and follows it to a metal door. When he opens the door, he finds several doctors and caged animals right behind him. He escapes, quickly climbing a wall, screaming and waving his arms wildly. At this point, Lewis, one of the youngest friendly members of the team, takes action. Despite opposition from Schaefer, he shoots the caveman with a tranquilizer dart, preventing him from self-harming. After the man calms down, the group starts to think about what to do again. Adam is taken in by Freddy and his team, despite Shepard's objections. Shepard insists on the promised fortnight to study the man's behavior, but Briart says there's nothing he can do while leading him to the unconscious man. Later that evening, she confronts Shepard and persuades him to watch some videos with her. These videos show tribes living around the world performing extraordinary physical feats. they can withstand enormous amounts of pain. Freddy believes this is psychological, and mostly due to his brain powers. Shepard argues that they owe this to a chemical produced by their bodies. He suggests that cavemen may also have this ability. Therefore, they should let it live, giving it more time to study it. When the man sees that he is back in the artificial world, he realizes that Shepard has won the argument. He enters the arena and approaches the caveman despite his aggressive gestures. The caveman has no power to defeat. Just as the caveman was about to hit him with a stone, a curious expression suddenly appeared on his face. He begins to poke and examine Shepard's body, trying to figure out if they are of the same species. Then he taps his chest to introduce himself, makes some noises, and they start calling him Charlie from that point on, as these sounds are likened to the word Charlie. As they become more comfortable around each other, Charlie tries to share more information. Pointing his hand at the sky, he says something that sounds a bit like Peter. Then we see a series of scratches and cuts on his chest, very similar to the bird-shaped bundle of hair he carries on him. Later, while sitting in a bar, Chopper persuades Brady to seek help from Professor Camman, a linguist. Camman is brought in by Air soon after and begins analyzing recordings of Charlie's conversations. Meanwhile, Shepard and Charlie continue to communicate and share the names they give to the stone-like objects they see around them. Shepard also tries to engage and encourage her by singing "Fire on the Mountain" as Charlie sits by a campfire. Then we see Charlie with the medical facility. The doctors examine his abdomen, observing that Charlie's body temperature drops and his vital signs decrease in the process. Back in the fake wilderness, we find Shepard trying to convince Charlie that he wasn't responsible for those tests. With a stick in his hand, Charlie throws the stick at Schaefer but fails to hit him. He then begs Schaefer to stab him. Shepard is clearly concerned about this turn of events. He thinks Charlie needs more stimulation and convinces Brady to interact with the caveman. After some discussion, Brady agrees to meet with Charlie. Charlie tries to say welcome by presenting a bug. Brady wants to throw up, but Shepard convinces him to keep him, thus gaining Charlie's trust. Curious Charlie then begins to run his hands over Freddy. Shepard has done the same before. Before she touches any sensitive areas, Shepard intervenes, pulls Freddy towards him, and Charlie tells him it's his. Charlie initially offers to buy Brady the shower head at the chopper, which of course is rejected. Charlie seems to have accepted this. Soon, Charlie begins to draw what appears to be his wife and 2 children on the ground with a stick. Just then, he is disturbed by the noise of a helicopter taking off from the facility. Fascinated, Charlie starts shouting a claim over and over again, pointing upwards with his hands, climbing quickly from the rocks to the roof. Others wave to dispatch the helicopters, fearing they will hurt themselves. Wanting to establish a cultural bond with today's Inuit people, Shepard meets their age. They sing to them and Shepard does his best to communicate with them, but it angers them. After their speech, the SMAT claims that Charlie believes he is the god of the helicopter. The legendary bird, which is also depicted on his chest and carried with his likeness, is the helicopter. He tells Brady that he believes Charlie was frozen in the dreamwalk. He claims that Charlie sought his god to sacrifice himself, thus saving his dying people. Left alone, curious Charlie manages to open the door of the facility by imitating the Chapterdon's movements. He wanders through the interior of the complex, excited but also afraid. It breaks a mirror and knocks over various items along the way. The first person he encounters is Mayonnaise. At that moment, Charlie is taken by surprise and thrusts the spear into his stomach. It continues to explore rooms and corridors. Later, he finds an emergency exit to the outside world, exits from there, and gets excited by the snow he sees around him. When he sees the helicopter above, he opens his arms and calls the pilot and starts running, shouting SOS. SOS is a call used in emergencies today. When the helicopter approaches, it makes a sharp turn. Charlie faints. Back on campus, Shepard approaches Lomax and asks for help. He wants to help Charlie complete his dream walk. Meanwhile, Charlie sways back and forth muttering to himself. He appears to have drawn a picture of the bird and made offerings to it. Shepard enters the area and summons Charlie. They both start walking straight into the abdomen. Charlie goes first. When they are noticed that they are gone, the others follow them on snowmobiles. Not long after their walk, an avalanche falls. A sudden escape is made to a place on the ice, and Shepard is separated from his new friends. Meanwhile, the helicopter starts hovering over Charlie. The caveman begins to remember his past. He thinks of the first time he saw her and the offerings he made to his god. He leaps towards the helicopter, believing that he has come to take him away. When the helicopter starts to rise, it takes the Super League with it, holding the sled. As Shepard looks in horror, Charles looks delighted to have finally achieved his goal. Then the co-pilot opens the door and extends his hand to him, but Charlie does not react. Instead, in the final sequence of the movie, we see Charlie falling through the air with his arms and legs outstretched towards the earth. Your mission is now complete. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on your notifications to watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching. MeXmanager.by. Bye.